Okay, so that's it for our quadrilaterals or triangles for all of our different plane figures, right? But what we haven't talked about yet is what if I don't have multiple edges? What if I have a circle? So the last shape that we need to do is talk about a circle. So what is a circle? A circle, well, you should know what it is, but I don't know if you know specifically how it's defined. A circle is defined by its center and its radius. So the center is the middle of it, obviously, right? The radius is the distance from the center to the outside point. So how do you make a circle? You take that exact length and you just go that distance. So imagine putting a thumbtack on a string and cutting that string to a length. Put a pencil on the outside of that string and pull that rope tight and go that exact distance around the center. So that's what creates a circle. You need two things to create a circle, a center and a radius. However, lots of people like to talk about the diameter. So what is the diameter? The diameter is very specifically the distance between 2 points on complete opposite ends of the circle, meaning that the distance, in this case from the picture, it's from A to B, has to be the radius from A to the center and the radius from 0 to the center to B. So the diameter, by definition, has to be twice the radius. Likewise, you could think about it in reverse. Instead of the diameter being twice the radius, you could think of the radius as half of the diameter, and that's what they show you right there, okay? So when we talk about the perimeter of a circle, the outside of a circle, it's actually not called perimeter, it's called circumference. So circumference is equal to perimeter for a circle. Okay? If it's one of our closed plane figures, one of our quadrilaterals, triangles, etc., that's called perimeter. But if it's a circle, the perimeter is called the circumference. So how do you find the circumference? The circumference is equal to pi times the diameter, or 2 pi times the radius. Which one of those formulas do you use? Well, whichever one they give you. If they give you the diameter, use the diameter, the pi times the diameter. If they give you the radius, use 2 pi times the radius, okay? I will let you know that I tend to use the one with the radius more. Why? Because when we get to area of a circle and volume of a three-dimensional circle, which is called a sphere, those formulas must use the radius. So I really embed in me that I always want to use the radius. So the one that I always remember is 2 pi r. But if you use pi times diameter, that's fair game. Cite the formula and use it. I want you to look at this next part right here. It says the value of pi can be approximated. So pi is 3.14159, whatever, okay? So they're saying you could approximate it at 3.14, but it is not equal to 3.14. And as a fraction, you could say it's 3 1/7, or that's as a mixed number, but as an improper fraction, that's 22/7. I will let you know we do not want to use those whatsoever. What we want to use is the pi button on our calculator, okay? And that's what this next section says right here. It says to get the proper answer, sorry, let me use the highlighter. It says to get the proper answer, we must use the pi button on the calculator, not 3.14. So look on your calculator, right above the little, like 2 up and to the left of the 7, right above the up arrow is the button pi. Make sure you know where pi is and that you can use it on your calculator. When you use pi on your calculator, it will give your answer in terms of pi. So for instance, if your answer is 3 pi, your calculator is going to tell you it's 3 pi. So what you need to do is hit 3 pi, and then you have to hit right above the equals buttons, the 2 arrows that look like that. So if you type in 3 pi and then hit those double arrow buttons and hit enter, then it will give you the decimal version of 9. Well, let me write this down real quick. 9.42, and that's an approximate version. Okay, so it continues on there forever. So when you leave an answer like 3 pi, this is called the exact answer. If they ask for the exact answer, that's what they want. If you leave your answer like this is called the approximation. So how do you go from the exact answer, which is what your calculator will give you, to the approximation? You just hit that button in your calculator that looks like this. So you must click the double arrow button to get the approximation. Okay, so knowing this, let's look at our first example. It says find the circumference. of a circle with radius, and it gives us the radius of 15 centimeters, so that's our radius. And then it says, really, really important, round to the nearest hundredth. Remember, that means 2 decimals. Just think about the number of zeros in hundredth. 100 is 2 zeros. The number of zeros is the number of decimals, okay? We do know our answers in terms of centimeters, so I'm not going to lie. I'm immediately going to go down and put cm for centimeters to make sure that I label my answers. I'm going to draw a picture just because that helps me. No, you don't need to draw the picture, but I know the radius is 15 centimeters. I know that we're trying to find the circumference of a circle, and to find the circumference of a circle, because we have r, I'm going to use the formula 2 pi r. Again, you could use pi times d, but you would actually have to find the diameter by multiplying the radius times 2. So I'll just use the 2 pi r. I have identified my variable. I've identified the formula. So now I can just plug it in. This would be 2 pi times 15. And if I put 2 pi times 15 into my calculator and hit enter, it's going to tell me the answer is 30 pi. Again, this right here is called the exact answer. And it didn't ask for the exact answer. It wanted us to round to 2 decimal places. So if I hit that double arrow button on my calculator right above enter, it converts it for us, and it tells me that the answer is approximately 94 point, well, if I have to do 2 decimals, it would be 247. The 7 tells me I need to round up, so that would be 94.25. Again, we need to label our answer, so that would be 94.25 centimeters. Okay? Let's look at the next example. Example 6. Find the circumference of a circle with diameter of 9 kilometers. Give the exact measure. I want you to notice here it says exact measure. That means you're going to use pi in your answer. This is also in terms of kilometers, so I know that I'm going to have kilometers as my answer. I'm going to label my units first before I do anything. I know that I'm finding circumference, so it's just the units, just like perimeter is. So I'm thinking about a circle, and I'm thinking about the diameter of that circle being 9 kilometers. I need to find the circumference of a circle, and again, I could use 2 pi r, in which case I'd have to solve for r, or I could simply use the other version of it, which is pi times the diameter, which I'll use in this case because we were given the diameter. So this would be pi times 9, or 9 pi if we wrote it properly, and they want the exact measure, so that's what we would say. It is 9 pi kilometers. Sounds ridiculous. In the real world, you would virtually never give the exact answer, okay? You would almost always give the approximation. If I said how far is 9 pi kilometers, most of you would have no concept of how far that is. So very important that you label your units here, okay? Notice the difference between exact and estimated. Anytime it says exact, it wants pi. Anytime it says estimated, it wants the decimal approximation.